All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again. It is a fabulous Friday here in the studio, and it's a special Friday. We got some special things to talk about. And you notice I said we because I have a guest. I guess you qualify as a guest. It's Friday, so it's my episode. No, I have Miss Erica Middlemiss here with me.
Hello,
To
everybody. It's so
It's
nice
the
to be here with you.
first time we've done this in a minute together, right?
2 years, yeah.
Yeah,
A minute
wow.
qualifies as 2 years in our reality.
That's wild. That's wild. Time is a crazy, crazy thing. And
Yeah,
yeah, we decided it's been a trip even trying to do this episode, um, folks. And I think that
to
gives
say the
us
least.
something interesting to talk about. But let me start at the beginning. I reached out to Erica a few weeks ago and was telling her how I was just feeling like I haven't felt like I have a lot new and fresh to share on daily episodes for a while. And you've noticed I share flashback episodes because a lot of listeners, weren't around in 2016 or 17 or 18 or, there's so many great episodes and content, I think. And so it's like, okay, if I'm not feeling inspired to share something new and insightful, then let's just share a flashback. And I've been doing it enough now where I just kind of started feeling like, you know what? Maybe it's time for a change. Maybe it's time to, this show has went through so many iterations. It started with me doing interviews, then me and Dalian doing 5 days a week together with one interview for me and him and one with interview, then just me. Then 2019 you came in fully doing Tuesdays and Thursdays. And
Do you know what? I think it was earlier because I think I was pregnant when that happened, which
mhm.
means 17.
Well, when you started doing Tuesdays and Thursdays,
I think so because I
well, I
remember
think
being
you started
pregnant.
like you filled in for me some
I
before then.
definitely did that.
Hmm.
I don't
And then
remember.
19
It's
is
such
when
a
I moved
blur.
in. 19 is when I moved into the Mystic Manor and started filming Optimistic, the late night style show. And
So
that's when I was
that's when
like,
I
I
really
need
took over.
support.
Okay.
I need
Yeah,
support. That
yeah.
was July 2019. And and you agreed you would come on and fully take those days, and you've done it religiously or spiritually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
All the
and
above.
And here we are, and it feels like it's time for another iteration, another chapter. And so when I called Erica, I said, "Look, we've been doing over 2,000 episodes, lots of daily episodes. I'm feeling like I would like to just um, pause on. People can go back and find the older episodes. I don't need to necessarily reshare them as a flashback, and in just do the soul shares for now." And possibly do dailies again. Certainly, if I feel really inspired to share something, then I can. And how are you feeling, Erica, about doing Tuesdays and Thursdays? And you were feeling similarly, like, okay, I've kind of, I feel like well, I'll let you speak to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, as is always the case with you and I throughout the years, we're always on the same page. And
Yeah.
so when we tend to have conversations about what's next, that's always the case where it's just like, yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the same exact way. We've said so much
Yeah.
over the years, and I'm getting to a place where I feel like I'm just repeating myself.
Yeah. Right. Right. And of course there's some benefit from that. And then there gets, to a point where it's like, okay, I find I'm more inspired oftentimes now on other podcasts because I'm
Yeah.
talking to someone is interviewing me I've never spoke to before. They're asking me questions and prompts. And I feel like, oh, New Year's, and I'm maybe saying a lot of the things that Brandonisms, but yet these people didn't even know me. They don't know who I am. They've never heard Positive Head. So that feels inspiring. Soul shares are still inspiring, and not to say that we'll never do a daily episode again. Certainly, Erica's got a lot of things that she wants to reallocate her energy to we like your book, etc. And
Yeah.
so the show has shifted so many times, and it's not going away. Like I said, I'm going to continue with soul shares, but and I have a feeling it'll definitely come a time where it's like, oh, I have something I really want to share, daily episode, or Erica's got something to share. She can come on as the soul share guest or do an episode possibly, and so that's kind of where we're at, folks. And I think it's probably sad for some folks. It is for us a little bit. It's
Yeah.
interesting because we've tried to record this. This is the fourth time we've
Yep.
tried to record this episode. What you're hearing, Erica and I started having some computer issues a month or two ago, but I was still able to do my interviews and everything. But for some reason, the energies, first off, in both of our lives has been super intense with
Mhm.
what's going on with personal stuff, and then making the decision to pull back on the daily episodes. We I've never in all almost 10 years of podcasting had it where I couldn't record an episode with someone until the fourth time. I literally finally just bought a new computer. And so, of course, how we all think, how you're thinking, what does that mean? And,
What's that all about?
yeah,
Yeah.
what in Erica, I mean, I certainly have my thoughts on it. Well, what is your interpretation of uh, this taking us four times to get out?
Well, it's interesting because today before we started, we said, both of our energies are different today.
Yeah, right.
And and we've gone through kind of different iterations on what we think this is. Like last week, the third time it didn't work, we were like, well, what's going to happen this week that
Yeah.
maybe some
Maybe you do an episode that changes someone's life. And
who
had
knows?
we gotten it out the three previous times, there wouldn't have been a daily episode yesterday, right? And that really, and this is how, of course, we all think. And so
Yeah.
it's an interesting thing to consider. And then for me, what kind of came up as it was kept happening, I'm like, okay, this is obviously some intense energetic stuff. Is this the wrong thing? Should we not be doing it? Should we
Right.
continue? All those questions come up. And it's like one thing that came up for me is I started thinking about endings and how a lot of times for me they have not been glamorous. I think of my band years, 20 years back or whatever, and how it was such a big 8 years of my life. And I remember our last show, we played a new song, last song of the last show. I didn't know it was the last show, and we played a brand new song and we flubbed it up. And and then I looked back afterwards. I'm like, wow, the wah wah wah, the ending of this, you know, this thing that was I had such dreams and aspirations and visions around. And what it really got me thinking about was like, there is no ending. It's not over if you haven't won. So any wonky endings in our life, or less than glamorous uh endings, it's because wait, there's more. There's that energy is going to play into some future. That the what happened with my band Kundalini and how it ended will one day be redeemed in this life, in another life, where it's like, because of that, there's it isn't over if you haven't won. And so that's what came up for me as we were like, just kind of both struggling energetically in our last attempts, going through a lot, like I said, personally, and then emotional about doing the last daily episode for now. And realizing like, this I've seen this before. And
Mhm.
this will all, it's like Paul Selig's books, his channeling books, I make all things new. He says
Mm,
that over and over when he's channeling. I have come, I make all things new. And it's like, it shall all be redeemed and made new. And
mhm.
I think that's beautiful to think of it and see it from that perspective.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting as you're talking about this, and when I said that our energies were off in those days, and then we couldn't do this electronic connection.
Yeah,
Well, maybe we were throwing it off, and maybe it's just an example of how
100%.
we really are affecting everything in our reality through our vibration, through our energy, where we're at in the moment.
Yeah,
And so we're allowed to record today because these vibes that we're giving off today are definitely something that we would prefer
yeah,
to be out there as
yeah,
opposed to the ones that we were feeling in the last couple of weeks that maybe we
yeah,
didn't want to share.
yeah,
Like let's not put that out.
yeah.
I'd rather not.
Yeah, right, right. It's like something was getting in the way for sure.
Uh-huh.
And it's and it's really interesting for me to look at and think about, like, how, it's not like you and I are talking every day and we are so
Right.
aligned energetically in a
Yes.
not necessarily our most like heightened expanded state. And you know
Exactly.
what? That's a part of this journey for each
Yeah.
and every one of us. And we were wise enough to just, okay, let's just follow that. We didn't really have much of a choice. I mean,
Right.
but it's such a trippy thing to think in over 2,000 episodes, going on 9 years of doing the podcast, I've never had an episode with someone else that we couldn't, we had to go a fourth time to get it
Hmm.
to record and work properly.
And that is fascinating because we are so aligned.
Yeah.
We're always on the same page. We're always like I could almost answer your questions for you, vice
Mhm.
versa, and I would trust that, yeah, he's going to give a good response.
Yeah.
Vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and when we first started, our very first recording together, like my very first episode with you back in 15, 16, whatever the hell that was.
Yeah.
Well, we had trouble then. And then I was at your house, so
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
actually the physical wiring of the microphone that we were
Right.
having a
Right.
hard
Right.
time
Right.
with.
Right.
And you had to leave the studio and go get a mic somewhere else in the
Cord.
house,
Yeah. I had to. Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was getting a little frustrating, right? And
Yeah.
I started Reikiing the equipment,
Yeah.
and you came back and kinda teased me, you're like, "Yeah, yeah," but the new chords and everything, the energy changed, and it worked. So it's the same kind of bag now.
Yeah.
The energy changed,
Yeah.
and it's working. So I
Yeah.
think that's a fantastic theme for today.
Yeah. It
That
really
and
is.
opening up the space for the new, because you can't have
That's a big
new.
part of this.
Yeah,
That's a big part of this. Making things new. It's like it's gotten to the point where it's not new and exciting. It feels a little like we're doing something because we have an obligation to do it, as
yep,
opposed to doing it from the state of authentic excitement and
passion.
expansion and
Mhm.
passion and that's okay. You
Yeah,
because you know endings are necessary for new beginnings, and you're now taking and saying, all right, universe, I'm ready for what's next, what's the new, and then a lot of times in life, I mean, I remember Wayne Dyer talking about this. He goes, life is, it's like the bus. And sometimes and he was talking about people, but it applies to this as well. He's like, you're on the bus with all these people, and someone gets off, and then you go to the next stop, someone new gets on, and maybe someone's on just for one stop. Maybe someone's on with you the whole time. Maybe they get back on the next day. So it's maybe we're right back on this very fresh in the coming weeks, months, years, who knows, where it's like, oh
mhm,
my gosh, I got to get out these daily episodes, I'm so inspired, and that'll be felt, and so I
yeah,
really think it's important to constantly check in and not just continue doing the same thing because obligation and feeling like you're supposed to. It's
yeah.
really, when it's lighting you up, do it, and when it's not, find what's lighting you up next. And it's how life wants to flow, I think.
Yeah, and I think too, we're always talking about doing this, and we have to practice it as
Yeah.
well. Like if
Right.
we're not excited about what we're doing, then that means stop stop doing it
Yeah.
for a
Right.
moment.
Yep.
Because I always felt very like, yes, I get to record today. And
Yeah.
in the recent weeks or month or so, it's been like I have to record today.
Yeah.
It's been more of an obligation.
Yeah.
And again, that's okay because there is new things coming in.
Yeah.
And just to surrender to that letting go. It's a tough one
It's a
for us
tough one.
humans. We don't
Our
love the change, and
our,
yeah.
our soul is like so for it, change,
Mhm.
whatever, in our
Mhm.
human, and I mean, in relationships, we can see it very well. Romantic relationships,
Oh,
particularly,
yeah.
it's like how many people stay in something well beyond its natural life cycle because of habit and comfort
Yeah,
and fear
yeah.
of the unknown. And it's the Chug Your Trunk quote that I often recite. It's like the bad news, you're falling through the air, nothing to hold on to, no parachute. The good news, there's no ground. And realizing that is the state of your existence all the time, with every project, with every relationship. We get used to the change, and it's in embracing that it's opening up new possibility.
Imagine for a second if we did not stay in relationships longer than we know we should, because we
Hmm.
all know there's
Hmm.
always a point where we know
Hmm.
this isn't doing it for me anymore.
Yep.
But
Right.
we make excuses for either the partner, ourselves, the relationship itself, you name it,
The
and we
child,
move
the
forward
comfort,
because
the
yes,
discomfort of separation.
but this person knows me so well, and maybe they'll change, and all of the things that we go through in our minds that at the end of the day, we know that this should have ended a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You got to
yeah,
be willing to, you'll be rewarded when you're willing to step into that fearful unknown. I believe
mhm,
wholeheartedly. It's like the universe um, reward you for being bold and not
yeah.
allowing stagnancy in your life.
Well, it's stepping into your power, stepping into your authenticity, not allowing things in your life that are just unacceptable
Yeah.
anymore. Because we all do that. We've been told that we should do certain things in our life, like it should be a certain way,
Yeah.
and yeah, that doesn't work for most of us, all those
Yeah.
shoulds.
Whew. Well, here we
Yeah.
are, walking the talk.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
Surrendering to it.
anything that you want to care, I mean, it's even a little more intense for you. I know because, I'm continuing with, the soul shares, for now, and you're, putting down the mic for now.
Yeah,
Um, so anything in particular that you want to share or say as I don't think we need to go too terribly long here,
yeah.
much longer. So anything that you really feel inspired to get
I
out?
well, yeah, I think a few things. Oh, wow. I'm like, now where do I start? I just wanna say
Mhm.
what an honor it has been. I just don't wanna cry,
Mm,
to connect with you all in this
mm,
way for this many years,
mm,
and to be a part of your life and for you to be a part of mine.
mm.
Because, the growth that I've experienced just doing this has been tremendous.
Yeah.
And so I wanna thank you all and express my extreme gratitude for
Mm,
being here with us this whole time.
yeah. Aw.
And yeah, again, like Brandon said, look, if we're super inspired, if I have something I want to say, I can turn a microphone on and record an episode if that happens. Also, I have I got some plans.
Mm,
I'm doing a couple new shows actually. And I'm going to do a YouTube channel. I know I've said this a bunch of times on this show that yeah, it's coming, it's coming. No, it's actually I'm actually doing it.
exciting.
It's the channel's already up. There's no content there, but it's called Awaken Within. And
Mm,
you guys, you can all go and find it and subscribe. And so the minute that I put something out, you'll have it
cool.
and you'll be able to see me and listen to it at the same time. And
Amazing.
I'm going to do all sorts of stuff. So, and just expanding on the things that I talk about here and
Yeah.
even giving some more exercises and um, helpful tips. And I think what I might even do with my book is just put it out, all the content
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube just for free. Here you go.
Cool.
Here's all the book content because it's not getting done.
Yeah.
And so this is my I feel like it's the only way to get it out. I've been sitting on it
Yeah.
and that's not fair.
Yeah.
So I think
Move
I
the
can
energy. Move the energy. Move
just
the energy.
move it
Yeah.
out. Yeah. And so and I need the space to be able to do all that.
Yeah.
And with work and the 5-year-old and all the life
Yeah.
circumstances, yeah, the space is necessary to be able to this or something better, right? And
Yep.
so while it's sad, it's also very exciting.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'm excited for you and excited to see how that unfolds. And yeah, there's some
thank
cool
you.
things on my end. We're looking at here at the Mystic Manor doing a Um, I've officially established a church, a legal entity for legal purposes primarily. It's not going to be church in a traditional
It's not
sense.
a new cult, Brandon, let's
No,
be
I mean I've
clear.
had so many jokes over the years, so it's funny. I've finally done it, and a
To be
community
real.
hub in the LA area that's just all about regular gatherings and how do we contribute to each other. And there will be
Awesome.
some talks and guests and ultimately filming. A lot of it is the vision, and so that's something that I'm going to be putting energy into, and you'll be hearing about. I'll share here, on the episodes I am still recording here for Positive Head. And as that unfolds, and ultimately the vision is we're going to put some of that online and sort of like in a way, a rehash of what it was doing with Optimistic, which kind of got thrown um, into a weird state with COVID, like bringing some of that energy back along with community gatherings that, and who knows where they'll go ultimately. Could it could evolve into other locations and cities outside of just LA for the physical gathering, but bringing
Oh, fun.
content around it online so that people can, who aren't here can still experience some of what's happening. And, the Mystic Manor here in Venice Beach has become quite a hub for conscious community. And so how do we, stepping that up and expanding it in all directions is one of the ways I'm going to be reallocating a lot of my energy,
Love it.
as well. So
Sounds amazing. And this is really what we all need are ways to gather with community.
yeah,
This is
right.
like
I
we've gotten so far away from it and we're getting back to it now.
it's really a blockage or challenge I've had to some degree is with the social media, how important social media is. And, in a sense, I
Mhm.
haven't played the game with this podcast the way you're supposed to get it
Right.
to be the biggest possible ever. And,
Mhm.
I could easily look at it and say, oh, in a way, I missed a wave of, I could have taken it so much further had I played the game a little more. And I'm excited about this new project because it feels more authentic to me of like, here's
Mhm.
something that's really about actual, IRL in real life community. And and I understand, social media and video and all that. It's important. I mean, I'm not trying to knock the media I'm grateful a lot of it's being put out there. I just really always want to do something a little bit different if possible. So I'm excited about
Yeah.
the possibility of that and really making the physical part of it an important key element.
Yeah. You know what? I'm one of those people. I love not playing the game and not following the pack and not doing what everybody else
Yeah, and you
does.
get the
I
ups and
can't
downs of
do it.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
pros and cons to that, and I've certainly had more than one moment in recent years like, oh, why didn't I play the hand I'm dealt differently? And of course, then you come to, and Brandon, it's exactly perfect for you and what you need
Exactly.
for your own growth and good, and it's
Mhm.
making you into more. And had I taken it to another level, who knows? It would my ego have been challenged, and I
Right.
maybe been more of something I don't want to become, or I wasn't quite ready for, who knows? Who knows? But I
Mhm.
trusting the mystery, trusting the process, and I've certainly done a lot of growing personally over the years, on the mic and off the mic, and
Mhm.
I'm excited to just see what that translates into in life, and I don't feel attached to being anything other than, as I think of Saint Francis of Assisi said, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. you know Here's whatever time I have left here, show me the way that I can serve and get the most fulfillment out of it, you know is really
Yeah.
all I'm seeking. And so I'm glad we both have steps of how we're going to fill some of the energy that's freed up
Yes.
from the daily episode. So that
Yeah.
feels exciting. So it will bring a benefit. The vision is it will bring an ultimate greater benefit to all of you
Yeah.
listening. So please continue, of course, to follow our paths. And I am on social media, despite what I said. If you can find me on Instagram, it's probably where I'm the
Me
most
too.
active. Yeah, I just search Brandon Beechamore. Optimistic is my um, tag for Instagram, but it's a little confusing because I use a 0 PTIMYSTIC, so it's not an O, it's a zero on the front of Optim and it's spelled mystical. But yeah, follow me there if you haven't, and that way you
You
can
made
stay
it
up to date
easy
with
for
some.
people to find you. Yeah,
Yeah,
good
and
job.
then there's Mystic Manor LA. And then there's Mystic Manor on
Yeah.
LA, Mystic Manor LA Instagram as well, where we'll be posting a lot about some of the things I just talked about. And yeah, and you'll hear me on these future episodes that are still to come. And I'm trying to think anything else. I mean, for me personally, the daily episodes have been such a huge part of my own evolution. Getting to teach best what I most need to learn, as I like to say, and
Yeah.
get the feedback, you know, on from you guys directly, or thousands of people. If you go to Apple, where there's the most reviews in the US, there's, almost a couple thousand people sharing how much this show has impacted their lives. And
Yeah.
that has been probably the most meaningful thing in my own life, to hear
Me
that
too.
feedback from you guys about how
Yeah, me
much
too.
our labor of love has rippled into your world, that true ROI, the true ripple of impact in life.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for taking the time to review and share and write me directly. I mean, of course, you can reach me, Brandon at positivehead.com, if you ever have something to say or share, or even a review on Apple for future people. I mean, I'm hoping 100 years from now, people are listening, people are finding it. So I've got some ideas too around to like creating. Well, I'll share that for another day. But things that I can do with this content to make it fresh and new, and use some of the stuff with AI that's happening out there. And so who knows what's to come? Just stay tuned,
Right.
and don't be sad if you are. It's a good development.
It is. It is. Lots more to come. Yeah. And I also have my email address,
Yeah,
Erica at
sure.
Positive Head, so people can
Yeah.
people can always reach out to me. Like, we're gonna still be here. The podcast is gonna stay up, right? Like,
Yep.
yeah.
Yes.
So just
Yep.
new and fun and exciting things. And again, I would love it if you guys go subscribe to my thing before there's any content. It would be fantastic. It
Yeah.
would be
Huh.
so nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, it's
You,
awaken within. And if you guys do that, here's my promise. That's gonna get me going,
yeah.
right?
Right.
Like
Right.
if
People
I see that,
subscribing.
like, oh, okay, then let me hurry up and get some content. So it'll
Yeah.
help me. And I need
Yeah.
a little push sometimes. Like, honestly, if I didn't have you, Brandon, if I didn't
Hmm.
have to show up 2 days
Hmm.
a week because I promised you and I have a responsibility to the listeners,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it just on my own accord. I need that accountability. I will
Yeah.
do it. It's just
Yeah. No, you're
not
right. I
as
mean, it
quickly.
really helped, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and same for me. It's like with the things. Part of my own challenge or self judgment is around, not feeling inspired to see things through all the time the way I envisioned at the start, and and so yeah, I get what you're saying. Having people there. I mean, even with like Optimistic, we put so much energy into the late night style show, and we still have episodes we haven't released. I feel kind of
Oh,
like
wow.
about that. Yeah, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna. My aim is to get them out there. So same, if you go and go to optimistic.tv or find Optimistic, you'll see, clearly. I forget even what the exact URL is. Yeah, if you go to youtube.com/we are optimistic, and mystic is spelled with a Y, you can check out those episodes, and yeah, ping me and inspire me to get them out there. And of course, as with the new content and stuff that I have the vision of creating, as talked about, that'll be, coming through that portal as well, I imagine. So check that out. And yeah, I think we'd both just love to hear from any of you about your feelings.
Absolutely.
It would feel great. So
And yeah, like you said, it really is more helpful than you guys realize
yeah,
for us.
so
So
helpful.
much more helpful. Like the reviews.
Hmm.
There were times over the years where I felt like, is anybody listening?
Yeah,
Am I just talking to myself in my closet?
yeah, right.
Am I helping anyone? I have no idea. And then you read the reviews and you're like, oh,
Hmm.
okay. I'm gonna go turn the mic on. I'm actually helping.
Yeah,
And it fuels your fire.
it
So
does.
it's important.
Even if you're
Hmm.
helping one person, that's the thing, is we're
That's
so
all that
caught up in
matters. Yeah.
this day and numbers. And this show is number 2 on Apple Podcasts for many years, in the top 5 for many years. And it's so easy to get caught up on that stuff, though, of
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, is there less listeners, or is there more listeners? One person, if you
Yeah.
affect one person's life, and what could be the ripple of impact into the world. It's like, I remember hearing Charles Eisenstein say, who is more important, Gandhi or Gandhi's grandmother, who raised him and
Hmm.
made him the man that he became? So it's
Absolutely.
really important to think about those things. And so yeah, it's been beautiful, and I'm
Yeah.
so grateful for each and every one of you to being a part of the journey, this very lengthy chapter, where it's me and Erica,
Hmm.
pretty much going on 5 years,
Yeah.
and longer since you first were on the show, but since you were on regularly. And
Yeah.
we'll see what comes next, folks. Stay
It's a
tuned.
good run, B. It's a really
Yeah,
good
good
run.
run, Erica. We soul contract fulfilled.
Yes.
My
We did
karmic debt to you has been paid.
it.
Consider it paid in full. You can now release
And we
me
are
from
done
your
here.
witchy curse you may have put on me.
How'd you know? Get on, get on.
It's so funny because I always think in terms of that. Like, there's a soul contract, right? You coming to me
Absolutely.
early on, Brandon, hey, I
Yep.
want to help be part of this podcast. What can I do? You know, you were just like so adamant, and that's how we met.
Adamant.
And then we got to be friends.
Yeah.
And then you came and filled in as you were a guest. And then, and you know, it evolved in such a fun, organic way,
Yeah. It flowed as it should,
as it should. Well, I think you last one of the other 3 times we've tried to record this, you said that you had a perfect song that you wanted to lead.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it is a great song.
And
And
yeah,
it is.
I'll let you take this since this is sort of your last than mine. I'll let you take the reins and choose
Oh,
the song.
awesome. Well, thank you, B. I love you so much. And I love you all so much. Thank you so, so incredibly much. And we're going to leave you with this song by Yaima called Rebirth. Until next
Rebirth.
time.
Oh, love you so much. Bye for now.
Love you all.